What's up, everybody? We're back with another reaction video of Amir Odom. And this video is titled, Why So Many People Dislike the LGBTQ Community. Amir is a conservative black gay man, so it'll be very interesting of his take on what he sees in his own community. Before I continue, please definitely follow Amir Odom's channel. I like to give credit to all the videos that I react to, give credit where credit is due, and definitely follow me on my channel, my YouTube and Twitch channel, Talkative Carl, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll get right into it. So here we go.
Do you know more people than ICE this year?
There's a very big movement of gays that really hate this gender identity stuff.
It's not the fact that they're gay that bothers people. It's the antics.
In what age do you think most trans kids determine that they're trans?
Violet told us when she was 1.5.
For the most part, it's the regular everyday people and even the normal gays that are just sick and tired of what the LGBTQ plus community has become over the last...
A little too fast.
few years, and that's exactly what we'll be talking about in this video. So if you like this commentary style of content and you're just chilling right now, be sure to subscribe and let's dive right into this video.
I honestly don't think the mainstream straight population know that there's a very big movement of gays that really hate this gender identity stuff, and a lot of other...
That is true, and that is rising, especially here on this channel. And a lot of my gay supporters, a lot of them, it's not even so much that you're conservative, it's just that you're just a regular gay dude, a regular gay woman, minding your business with your person. You're low-key doing what you want to do in your life, and in large...
Right. There's, gay men in my life that I knew. One of them I went to high school, still connect with from time to time, and reasonable people that isn't down with all this bull crap. I think there's as they put it, the growing parts of the gay community that acknowledges, because they're sensible people, they acknowledges, certain people among their community have been doing the most, and it kept spiraling and spiraling and spiraling to the point where everybody who's not of that ilk is looking at this as like, oh, it's like, it's just groan and cringe with adding so many letters when it's just been LGBT. That was it. That should have been the cutoff point. But then you add the Q's and then the pluses and then there's all these other letters. That's why people make a joke, call them the alphabet community, because they just taking the entire alphabet plus a plus sign. And then they shoving stuff in every little thing that doesn't require them to be there. And it's just like, I'm sorry. It's the most. It's too extra, okay? And I it's coming from Amir himself in a different video, and he points it out that these bad faith actors in the gay community has been pushing things too far, and they're gonna end up turning people who are very nonchalant, very indifferent about people of a different, who live a different lifestyle than them, gonna turn them into the very biggest that they claim that they hate, because they've been shoving their ideology into every nook and cranny of society. It's a lot. You have to acknowledge that it is a lot.
A lot of us are sick and tired of being associated with the LGBTQ community in large because of the crazy things that they promote and stand for. We're tired of the antics. We're tired of the nonsense that's out there.
Liberal white women doesn't help either, mind you that. They're the worst. Liberal white women. They are the worst.
and we want to just be left alone. The average gay couple really out there, it's Bert and Ernie. It's literally Bert and Ernie, two dudes at home with their dog, minding their business, working, playing games, cuddling. It's chill. It's chill. And there's a rising movement of gay people, especially my friend Joey. Shout out to Joey. He has a group called the Untapped Society, and it's a group of just like very entrepreneurial gay people that are very professional and not into the big like circuit parties. Like, it's not gay, but it's for gay men. So go check them out if you want. But yeah, we're sick and tired of it. And there is a rising movement of regular gay people out there that are against all the nonsense.
And a lot of the other things that have piggybacked themselves onto our community and movement and lifestyles. I've met some straight men in particular, like at a wedding or in a bar or something, and then as the minority, I kind of allow some space for kind of being a bit non-PC, and I kind of drop a few things in there. And a lot of them go, oh, God, thank God, I thought I was going to have to walk on eggshells around you.
I do the same thing. If I'm around a lot of straight guys, I'll drop like a dark humor joke just so they know, like, yes, I am gay, but I'm not what most people think of when they hear gay. Like, I'm just chill, we can joke around, I'm not gonna be triggered.
I have friends like that too, and I appreciate them for it. I'm probably got very lucky that in terms of other people of other walks of life that isn't mine, I got very lucky. And of course, they have their own political viewpoints, and like we don't agree on everything. But I got very lucky in terms of being associated with people. Now I got my in a close circle of friends. I'm not like very extrovert. I'm very introvert. So I have my core group of friends that I am settled with. That like, okay, these are my friends. Don't need any more new ones. These are the people that my inner circle that I trust, and a lot of them in that circle are sensible, all from different walks of life, different beliefs, different sexualities, all that stuff, but they're all sensible. Any one of us can make a dark humor joke and we don't have to worry about, you know, saying like, how dare you, like, that's offensive. That is like, you know, they don't blow up like they did with Marlon Wayans when he put out that scary movie trailer and have a bunch of these little woke idiots sitting there, you know, crying, oh, that's offensive. You know, none of that in my core group of friends. Thank God.
I'm not woke, I'm not none of that. And I'm not saying I'm the super far right, like conservative person, no. Pretty middle ground, obviously more on the right, but like, I'm just a regular dude. I crack our humor jokes, I'm fine with a lot of words and slurs being said, I'm all for free speech, I understand context, it's chill over here. And I do that with a lot of most of my friends are straight men, just because it's more chill and it's hard for me to find the regular gay people out there. Now I know there's a large audience of you guys watching me, and I'm trying to work on something this year to get all of us together, because I would love for that to happen so we can all network and meet other like-minded individuals. But man, I do the same damn thing.
And that's how a lot of like normies are starting to feel around not only the, you know, the blue-haired, not
you know what? And of course, I'm not conservative either. I might have certain conservative beliefs here and there, but I think my turning point or my red pill moment was way back. If you remember, way before the COVID situation. It was when Mario Lopez got in trouble when it was first announced that Gabrielle Jr. and D Wade's kid, there was a whole thing where like he or she, I forget which one the child went with, announced that they were trans, and Mario Lopez pointed out, which I kind of agree with. But of course, it was the height of the woke movement, mind you, and the definitely around that time with the Harvey Weinstein situation. So people's emotions were pretty raw, and everything was super woke, liberal, all that stuff. People can't say nothing without getting canceled. But when he pointed out that this child was way too young to be thinking that kind of way and making these kind of decisions, he was pretty much, to keep his various jobs, he had to make this big old apology, which is a shame. Because if he would have brought it up now, I think there would be probably less backlash, and the likelihood of him having to apologize, would have been very low. Because within like I guess going as far back as maybe 2024, maybe 2023, getting into 2024, when people probably reach its their apex of this cancel culture, where it's like, what, we had it, okay? We're not gonna walk on eggshells. We're gonna say what we want. If you want to get butthurt about it, that's your problem. But I'm not gonna sit there and be mind arrested or verbally arrested for voicing my own opinions. And it's just like, it's almost freeing in a way where we can just not say everything we want to. Of course, there's still consequences, but it's got to be reasonable consequences. Not like, you said something that was, because you didn't read the context, you took it out of context. Oh, you said this. That's offensive of this little particular community. Oh, take his various jobs. I'm going to boycott him on Twitter and like hashtag it and all this other stuff. Nobody's trying to deal with that. Most, at least sensible celebrities, ain't trying to hear none of that. Most companies nowadays ain't trying to hear none of that. And I'm so glad that there's more people, finally woken up to this, real woke. But I just, ever since the Mario Lopez thing, that's when I started to see the crackers. Because I grew up Democrat too, but I guess I was in the era of the sensible Democrat. And like Bill Maher said, I'm not the one who changed. Y'all the one who changed. The party is the one who changed. Because you let certain crazy leftists into the fold, and they pretty much took over. Y'all let them be the loudest voices in the room, and every other sensible people are just sick of it. So, yeah. It's a shame Mario Lopez had to go through that. But that was my turning point, and it seemed like the writings on the walls, little by little, year by year.
Only those things, but also just average gay people, and they're not purposefully thinking, oh, all gay people are this insufferable. It's how we're portrayed.
Yeah.
All of our representation in media are narcissistic, attention-seeking idiots.
And it's crazy too, because it's coming from the side of like diversity, and we're all different, we're all loving and accepting. But again, you're a bunch of copy and paste twinks. It is. You go to any gay club, it's very stereotypical of who you will see there across the nation. All the gay clubs are the same. I mean, I know I have a little lisp and my hands and wrists flying everywhere. There's little things like that. I get it. Like, I'm called spade a spade. It is what it is. Obviously, I'm gay. But I definitely do not make it my entire identity. I am Amir. That is my identity. That is my personality. Yes, I am gay. Gay is a part of me. But I don't parade it around and dip and dive in. And well, I do be dipping and diving into concerts. I'm blunt and I keep it real. I'll put a clip of me right here, dipping and diving. I do that at the concerts. I can get fucking wild. But I'm not out here with like the rainbows and the dyed hair and like super, super, super flamboyant, which not to say anything specifically wrong with that. But what I don't like is how the media portrays us to be. And it's like, that's our only option. Because that happened to me when I first came out the closet.
It's a stereotype. Bad stereotype. It's not even a funny stereotype. It's just like, it's almost like annoying stereotype.
Well, really, I was outed, but that's a story for another day. I was outed when I decided to come out the closet and like really embrace me being gay. I became a caricature of what gay is. Some of y'all may think I'm gay now. No, I flew out that damn closet. I was zesty McZesty. I was, oh my gosh, hi guys, my name's Amir and I'm gay. That's how I literally used to introduce myself, because I thought, because of what I saw in mainstream media, because I saw the RuPaul's Drag Race and I saw what gay clubs were, and that's all you saw what gay was in the media. And that's why I love Heated Rivalry so much, because yeah, it got gay and it was like the sexy and stuff. I get that, but it was regular dudes. Like, it was a regular gay couple. It wasn't super flamboyant. It wasn't super woke. It was just a regular love story. And that's what I loved about it the most, because it gave a glimpse into another side of gay media that a lot of people just don't see. And that alone was honestly such a sigh of relief, because like this guy said, there is this rising group of just normie gays. We're just dudes. That's it. Because even that alone, this idea of like a normal gay can feel isolating, can feel lonely, because it's almost like, in order to be in the gay community and have that quote unquote community, you have to think exactly like them. And if you don't, you get kicked out. Yeah.
And it's like, you even get in trouble for even saying oh, normal. What's normal? It's like sensible. It's fine that you're gay. Don't care about that. But you gotta like don't make it your identity. Don't trip out for every little word that comes out of somebody's mouth and make a big scene out of it. It's the same thing, I'm pretty sure they get in trouble, or at least get like pushback from their own community that's like super woke, far left, similar to how sensible women get pushed back to those ultra feminists that hold them accountable and points out the hypocrisy and the negative side of feminists or feminism or femininity, and say like, yeah, girls, we probably should do better because our guys are suffering and you're not helping. And like, oh, you're a pick me, you're male centered. And a lot more women are like, you know what, I don't care. Like, I got me a man, so yeah, I am picked. And it's kind of weird because don't you want to be picked by a man that you actually like? That, make you feel good about yourself? Don't you want to be picked by a guy like that? That's the ultimate goal. You want to be picked and have a partner. No one wants to live out the rest of their life by themselves or with cats or dogs. So, you just don't like it when somebody, points out your issues because you feel attacked. I'm pretty sure Amir and this gentleman he's referring to feeling exactly probably that same pushback. It's like, oh, like you're not one of us because you're not in the group think. It's like, no, I'm just a normal guy, I'm a sensible dude, and I see that you guys are wilding and it's making the rest of us look bad. And the same thing with the females, they point out to the other bad females like, no, you lot has been making us look bad, and like, what are we doing? They got mad at Felicia Rashad just to point out the fact that, and Sherry Shepherd got mad at them because, oh my God, how dare these women tell us how we should dress? And this is how elderly women, or the, not elderly women, but you know what I mean, like the elders of the community. And they would have been considered the elders of the community. People like you, the kind of women that young women should have been listening to, instead of the Cardi B's of the world. They ain't got no doggone sense. Felicia Rashad and Sherry Shepherd points out, you gotta dress like you got some goddamn sense, ladies. You need to dress ladylike. And they call them, especially Felicia Rashad, the, one of the best TV moms of all time. And you try to come at her. It's like these girls act like they don't know who they're talking to, because it doesn't matter, because it's just like no one wants to be held accountable for crap. Cause it doesn't, and I hate it when they point out that like tired old phrase. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and sometimes it gets annoying because you throw that out sometimes as good advice, but sometimes that's often used as like a scapegoat or a shield so you don't have to be held accountable for anything. It doesn't matter. You just don't like it at all because it just makes you feel bad. Like, even if it was a woman saying it, in her own feminine way, hopefully it'll be received better if it comes from a female. Doesn't matter. You still get pushback. If it comes from a person, like a man who has like a gravitas like a father, like Kevin Samuels, doesn't matter, not received. If it comes in a more intellectual way and with illustrations like whole math, doesn't matter, not received well. At least most of these are not received well. Or even abrasive and direct, like, fresh and fit. Doesn't matter, not received well. It doesn't matter how any one of these options they could have choose from. Some of them don't receive it well because it doesn't make them feel good. They feel attacked. They like to live in their little illusions at the cost of their own future, and they hate it. So I imagine sensible gay people who are acknowledging the faults in their community and how it makes the rest of them look, they probably getting the same pushback. And it doesn't matter who is saying it, even if somebody in the filter of a gay person is not received well, because they don't like to be challenged. They don't like to be held accountable because it doesn't make them feel good. Stupid.
Because you don't fit in this ideological box of what you're projecting onto me, what you're expecting me to be and how I should act. All of a sudden, I'm the bad guy now just because I'm a gay dude that's not okay with like little kids transitioning. All of a sudden, I'm a bad person. Doesn't make any sense.
And this is something with the gay community that's always bothered me. It's not the fact that they're gay that bothers people. It's the antics.
Yeah.
Right? Because the only thing that makes you gay is the fact that you sleep with members of the same sex. But you being loud and rambunctious and walking around like Saucy Santana, that's not the gay part. The gay part is the sex acts that you engage in. They wear that identity along with their homosexuality and say, and when we have a problem with that, they say that we're being homophobic. The gay part is actually private, right? You don't have sex in the street.
Right.
So, and it's 100% fine for them to do that. But when somebody has a problem with it, to label them as homophobic.
Right, most people out there, especially, obviously I'm not straight, but I feel like when I'm talking to my straight friends and I'm reading the straight comments, most straight people just have a problem with the identity that you're attaching to being gay. Because like dude said, the only thing that's gay is what I do behind a closed door. Sexuality, sex, male, female, what y'all doing, gay, straight, bi, we've gone through the whole deal. That's what being gay is. And some people don't really have an issue with that because it's behind a closed door. But when people call out, hey, I'm not cool with all this antics, I'm not cool with the pride flag being flown around, I'm not cool with it being in the schools, pride parades don't make sense to me. When they're giving their critiques on the supposed like identity that we've built as gay community and people are critical of that, you're lumping it in and saying, oh, now they're homophobic, oh, they're a POS, oh, they're bad, when in reality, they just don't like with the antics. The super loud, the super like ratchet, the super like twinkish, the super like very pushy. The pushy gays. Now, I'm all for you living your truth and being who you want to be. You can do that all day long. But at the same time, just because someone doesn't like you, your identity, and what you're doing doesn't mean they hate the act that you do. Because they very well can have gay friends that are very chill, very low-key, not even low-key, just very like themselves, they're very just like normal human beings. But when you have this LGBTQ community that is very loud and colorful, flamboyant, rambunctious, sexual, it's like, I don't want any part of that. And saying you don't want any part of that doesn't automatically make you homophobic. Because like I said before, there's a lot of regular gay dudes, lesbian, bisexual people who want no part of the modern day LGBTQ community. Hell, I'll even go as far as saying like the other dude said, he'd be cracking the dark humor jokes to kind of cut the tension to not be automatically associated with the modern day LGBTQ community. I like if I was in the closet now, it's even harder to come out. Because now when I come out, I have to like disclose, hey, I'm gay, but I'm not. There we go. I'm gay, but I'm not. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between being gay and then being like that. It is what it is. And most of the LGBT community is just, it's too much. It's become too much. And this is why you've seen a decline in the respect for the LGBTQ community, especially given all the amount of people with the TQ plus, all the non-binaries, all the trans, like all that side has just been plummeting gay rights and the respect for gay rights and gay people because of the harm that they're doing. It's sad and it's frustrating.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, I belong in here. I just have a
That face was he just is like express exactly what I was thinking right in that moment. Like, oh my god, really? That took me out. I didn't expect that. This is the first time watching this video, so it was kind of like, oh my god, that was funny. That was funny.
Plummeting gay rights and the respect for gay rights and gay people because of the harm that they're doing. It's sad and it's frustrating.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It's that look. It's just like Clarissa explained it all. Yeah, this is like really, really.
I belong in here. I just have a deep voice.
Okay, can I ask you another one?
Yeah, sure.
What color lipstick is that?
Pink poodle. It's a matte color.
How it feels being in the women's restroom as a trans woman. This is why, like, a lot of
I
people.
like the whole Venture Brothers like joke. That was, slayed me, man. Cause like, oh man, I love that freaking show, the Venture Brothers. Dr. and Mrs. Venture. No, not Mrs. Venture. Dr. and Mrs. Marnock. Sorry.
Just regular everyday people are over this BS because now you look crazy. You all, no shade, you already look crazy as it is. Like the cross dressers and the trans, you already were seen as crazy. It was almost as if people respected it a little bit more because you put in the effort and you tried, When there was a cross dresser or when there was a trans person, they really tried their hardest to be a woman. And then now you have like grown men with long hair slapping on makeup and a dress saying, oh, I belong in the women's restroom. It's that shit right here that bothers people. That upsets people, that makes people just extremely uncomfortable because of just this extreme rise over the last, I would say 5 to 7 years of grown men playing dress up, going into these women's bathrooms, causing a scene, acting a fool, posting online for clicks and views. All you're doing is making people not like the gay community. Because even now, when you go to like these gay organization websites like Glenson and Glad, they're all talking about trans stuff and non-binary stuff. A lot of the times, these gay organizations have nothing to do with gay people. The LGB, the lesbian, gay, and bi have nothing to do with that. It's all the TQ+. And they're literally separate, and they should be separate. I hate what it's become because when you ask these normal people, hey, what are your thoughts on the LGBTQ community? Do you support them? Hell, I would say no too. Because if me saying yes automatically means that I'm supporting this and the trans kids and all types of craziness, no, I don't support any of that. I don't.
I do feel legit bad for the LGBs because it was just them at first. And that made sense to a lot of people in the 90s. Okay, like, or at least goes as far back as maybe even the 80s. It's like, sure, it might be a little off-putting, watching two dudes kiss in public. It's like, okay, there's a little awkward, but, it takes a minute to let that marinate a little bit, but then we get past it. And it's like, okay, like we passed the awkward moment, moving on. But, over time, we kind of like, yeah, there's lesbians out there, there's, gay dudes and bisexuals. It's like, okay, reasonable, sure. But, outside of who they sleep with, they just normal folks that hang out at a bar or go to the movies or, we all like a group of friends go to the amusement park, whatever. And they just, chill, normal people. Until the T starts rolling around. That's when the shifts start happening. But even still, it wasn't as much, like, pushback until there was a shift, like he said, in the past 5 years. There's, like, a weird shift. And then you start adding on extra stuff. In, like, with the Q's and the pluses and all this other stuff. You start adding too much, and then it's not even about the LGBs anymore, because I guess they had their little moment. They got all they wanted. They pretty much chilling. But then here's these other folks. Like, where the hell y'all come from? What the hell y'all want? Like, why you rattling the cages? Everybody's pretty much chilling. In the early 2000s, people were kind of pretty chill. Even going so far as 2008, around that time, we was all chilling. Everything seems relatively peaceful in terms of the community. Outside, the 9/11, Iraq stuff, society was pretty much even killed. There wasn't this infighting. There wasn't no civil unrest, upheaval. There's no gays for Palestine crap. people like was acting normal for the most part. Not everything. No society is perfect, no matter the decade, but everything seems sensible. I argue it wasn't until around the 2010s when things are starting to get wacky.
I want my right to be married. I want my right to be seen as an equal according to the law. Other people out there, the straight folk, left alone. That's about it.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children who showed up yesterday at the state capitol to advocate for their humanity. They shouldn't have to, but it was an inspiration to watch.
This man is a Texas Democrat Senate candidate, James Tallarico. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Just the interview asked him, hey, what's something else that you love? And he's saying the trans kids that support me.
They can't even vote.
Now I understand this man is straight, but this is a big reason why there's a lot of other people out there on the other side that are just over all the gay stuff and just do not like anything gay related. What do you mean you love the idea of trans kids supporting you and their bravery, fighting for their acceptance? They're a child. They're literally a child. And this is why I speak out so much about stuff like this, because it is literally impacting our laws in this country at this level. There's a US senator talking about it. It blows my mind. There are grown adults out there, lots of them, that are promoting, pushing, and supporting this idea of trans youth and trans kids getting surgeries. I'm sorry, if a little girl came up to you and said, my breasts aren't big enough, I want a boob job, you would look at that kid like they're crazy and you would not let them get a boob job. So if that's the case, why are we sitting here and allowing them to medically castrate themselves for life because they feel like the opposite sex?
You don't even, I say this a lot. If the kid hasn't even understand the concept of sex in general, or even have any inkling of a understanding of who they even like, then they don't know crap. They're children. They can identify as Optimus Prime for all you care. Doesn't mean you get them surgery to look like an Autobot. They don't know anything. I know kids tend to say the darndest things, but they're still kids. Now, it'll be different when that kid turns 21 plus, because then they'll be like an adult. They have lived some semblance of a life. They have some semblance of understanding of how their body works and understanding about the opposite sex and everything like that. They have formulated some semblance of an identity of their own, and or at least most adults, can look at that. Okay, whether or not you agree, you can at least say like, okay, they're making their own decisions. They're above 18. They definitely has some semblance of a life, so they can have some grasp of, or a concept of who they truly feel on the inside. So you're more willing to buy what they're selling. Because you're not dealing with an 8-year-old, you're dealing with a 21-plus-year-old. And they, for the most part, can do whatever they want. Hell, they probably not even living under their own parents' roof by that point. Probably. So, I'm willing to at least hear them out in terms of wanting to transition to whatever sex they want to transition to. If you're younger than 18, I don't care. And most people should say, I don't care how you choose to feel or how you feel. You don't know crap. You haven't even formulated it like a true opinion yet. So, give it a few years. Who knows? A lot of these people end up changing their minds or regretting it if they end up, because their parents are stupid enough to, allow this stuff. Because, honestly, most people think, adults who transition their kids when they're kids should be arrested. And I'm inclined to, share the same sentiment, because you as a parent, are too freaking scared of any kind of political pushback, or not being seen as homophobic, or not listening, that you willing to put your kids through this horrific surgery just so you can be on the right side of history. It's the overcorrectness, I believe, of past sins of society, where we didn't hear out these adults back then, or kind of ridicule these adults back then who felt this type of way. So not to be, not to repeat the sins of the past, they like, okay, let's accept everything, no matter who it's coming from, because we want to make sure that people are feeling good as possible. And it's like, no, there's guardrails. We need to stop removing these guardrails. They're there for a reason. Society can't just do whatever. Otherwise, it'll just be the Wild West again. Why do you think it's not the Wild West anymore? Why do you think we stopped that? Because we couldn't just have people do whatever that they think they should do. Like, there's no vigilantes out there in mass like they used to be, taking the law in their own hands. We have to civilize society. We can't just do whatever. Sure, we live in a free society, but it isn't truly free, because we understand people are going to people. Okay? Why do you think there was a Sodom and Gomorrah and that had to be eradicated off the planet Earth? Because people have baser instincts that laws have to be implemented by man and God to kind of curb that instinct, so we can move about amongst each other in like a good symbiosis as much as possible. Sure, there are a few outliers that break the law, but when they do, we have things like prison, judges, rule of law. So that way, people can live a semblance of a normal life. They can come and go as they please without worrying about certain assaults or random acts of violence or whatever. People just can't do whatever they want. There has to be some level of like a line, a boundary. But when you remove those boundaries, what do you think is going to happen? Now there's certain people who want to egg it on, enable this behavior. Now it reached to a point where now people who were the sensible ones that were in mass back in the day are now demonized, like Felicia Rashad and Sherry Shepherd, who pointed out like girls need to start dressing, a little bit more ladylike. That was the norm back in the day. That wouldn't have sounded crazy. That would have been like, yeah, duh. But now it's gotten to a point where that kind of sentimentality is the minority now. That is a problem, because that line of thinking was the guardrail. Sure, no one can't force you to wear a burqa, but that doesn't mean you can just go out and dress half naked on the street, because you're not the only one that walks in society. It's not your street. It's not your house. You can't treat society like it's your house, where you can do whatever you want there. Once you step outside your house, you have to abide by certain rules and regulations. And like I said, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I'm glad there's sensible people rising up, because it's like cornering a rattlesnake or cornering an animal. Eventually that animal will start fighting back, and this is what's happening. Sensible people are starting to fight back, because it's gone to the point where it's like we're getting sick and tired of the cancel culture. We're getting sick and tired of like this pushy LGBTQ community members. We're getting sick and tired, like, women dressing like 304s, and not and having these crazy high standards and entitlements. We're getting sick of men being feeling bad about being men. It's just like enough was enough. And now it's like, oh my God, they're going to take away the repeal of the 19th Amendment. We wasn't even thinking about the 19th Amendment because women used to be sensible back in the day. We wasn't thinking about taking away gay marriage because people were sensible back in the day, or because you let certain individuals who were in bad faith enter your spaces and become the loudest voices and kept pushing like other people and browbeating them. It's just like, okay, apparently we made a mistake. We thought you would have been responsible with this power, but you wielded it improperly. Now we got to take it away until you hopefully learn how to properly wield this. Because you let certain people who aren't mature or have a healthy mind wield this power willy-nilly, and there's collateral damage. Because what else can we do? Because y'all's being irresponsible. Now there's infighting.
If this child is a minor and they cannot consent to have sex because they are a minor, because they're not developed, because they don't know how to be manipulated, because they don't know any of that, right? We're all in agreement that these minors, like, they can't consent to have sex with adults and it's nasty and it's wrong. That is wrong. But at the same time, there's a group of people saying, even though they can't consent to have sex, they can't consent to control what they're doing with their body parts. They can control to just get rid of it. The logic doesn't add up. They can consent to just, they can't consent to have sex, but they can consent to change their sex. It doesn't line up, and that's why people are like, oh my gosh, it's a slippery slope into the whole PDF file, that community, because there was something in Tennessee. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I think it was, and it wasn't just Tennessee, it was like a march, Trans Youth March for Body Autonomy. Is that what it was? Protest? Yeah, I'll put this image up. Was it Tennessee? Where was this? Young people organized DC Transgender Rights March. And this banner says, March for Queer and Trans Youth Autonomy. They're a minor. They ain't got no damn autonomy. That's their parents. And even then, the parents don't have full rights over their child in any extent of harming them. If I see my neighbors beating their child's ass, I'm talking wop, 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 beating their ass, I can call CPS and a parent is getting taken from the child.
Yeah, and that's the guardrail. Sure, you're a parent, you're allowed to raise your kid how you want within the reason. Sometimes kids need to be punished within reason. If they break something in the house, you're allowed to spank them on their backside. That will be within reason because they misbehaved. They need to learn not to be rambunctious and control themselves, because they can, if not, they will end up growing up and being rambunctious, and society won't have the same viewpoints or care the way a parent would to their child. So you don't want society to discipline that kid, now adult. So you better nip it in the bud while they're under your care. But it's a whole different kettle of fish where a kid accidentally breaks a vase and then you start beating on him like you're in the WWE. Then that crosses a boundary. There's guardrails. There's context. There's, it's kind of like, okay, you're not allowed to do that. So you also, by the same ilk, you can't just trans a kid. It's just like they're kids. They don't know any better. It's like, a kid said, like, I'm ready to live on my own, and like they're 8. They don't know what it's like living on your own and paying bills and like, they don't even understand about drinking responsibly. They don't even understand like a whole concept of alcohol. To them, it's like silly juice. I don't know. But you won't listen to them when they're 8 years old talking about like, I'm ready to live on my own. I see what you do, so I can do it too. They don't know any better. So of course, why would you listen to them if they go around saying like, oh, I feel like a boy inside? And it's like, girl, sit down somewhere. No, you don't. It's like, you know, but they're too afraid of not like appearing homophobic or something like that. They're too scared to like, you know, have this kid grow up, you know, with regrets, or like, because they, you know, certain individuals in that community who are adults who are adults by the legal definition, giving out these horror stories on these platforms like, oh, I felt this way when I was 7. My mom didn't listen to me, and so I ended up like cutting myself, and like, oh my God, you know, it's like, and then they play on your sympathies, which is a typical tactic with like the woke left. They play on your sympathies, and these parents who actually do legit love their kid, but it's like, oh my God, I don't want my kid, you know, regretting me. Oh, I don't want to feel like a bad parent. Like, and it's the same kind of parents that want to treat their kid like their friend, and that stupid little thing that was permeating the zeitgeist when like millennials were starting having children of their own. And it's like, you know, that went too far, and like they don't want to feel like a bad parent, so they let the kid run hog wild with whatever decision that pops into their mind, and they just run with it because they don't want to look like the bad guy. They don't want to act like a parent. And then it doesn't help with some woke celebrities that go around treating their trans kid like a fashion statement. It's like, oh, you know, like I just trans my kid. Oh my God, I'm so proud of. He used to be Becky, but now he's Benjamin, and I'm so proud of my Benjamin. You know, it's like, you know, and Benjamin is like 12 years old. And it's like, golly, it's like, y'all are crazy.
Because they're harming the child. And there's a lot of people out there who would say, even the detransitioners, the LGBTQ community, their voices matter too, that says you are harming a minor by transitioning them. Just insane as it is that you have this Senate Democrat talking about and promoting, oh, I love trans youth, it doesn't stop there. New York Attorney General demands hospitals resume gender.
In case you were talking like, oh, where's this, you know, where's your source? Like, here's the source. I hate it when people, like, when you're trying to bring up some statistics or information that you know about, and maybe not remember off the top of your head, but you know it exists, and you can't name the source because, like, I don't know, it's been like a week or two. Most people can't remember what they had for breakfast a week ago, so from Wednesday. So why would you think they'll remember certain source material from information that you know you looked into but can't remember off the top of your head? Here is the source material. Ground News.
Affirming treatment for trans youth. Make it make sense. On the left, we see here the Trump administration proposed cutting federal funding to hospitals offering gender-affirming care to minors, but these proposals did not change existing law obligations under New York state law. Basically, Trump, this administration, we'll talk about that as a whole another day, but this topic, they're saying, hey, you hospitals out there, y'all need to stop mutilating children. These minors, y'all gotta stop. And the New York Attorney General is demanding that the hospitals resume changing children's genders. Can't change it, but like literally mutilating them. That's what they're doing. And much like other people out there, I am sick and tired of being called homophobic or transphobic for not supporting trans minors. I'm tired of being told how to think on this topic and even in general, and it is why I'm such an advocate for today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a website and app that shows you how one story is being framed across the political spectrum. That way you're not reacting to one version of it. On the screen for 40% off the Vantage plan, which is looking at the same scoreboard. So if you want to get your news where I get one.
In this circle over here, we have gay people. In this circle over here, we have people who you consider to be homophobic, but are actually just annoyed with your shit. Because nobody has worked as hard as the gay community has over the last several years. Through being insufferably loud, demanding, intrusive little victims, you have effectively destroyed all public opinion of the gay community. Now you're mad that the fire that you started has burned you. Now I didn't finish filling out my diagram here. You see where these circles intersect? That's me. That is myself and the other gay conservatives here on social media who have been working hard, who are gay but have been critical of the gay community. Us who are gay but have been calling out the atrocious behavior that has been celebrated and uplifted within the gay community. Us who are gay who are trying to save the community from itself. So you can continue calling us and anyone else with valid criticisms and concerns homophobic, or you can say, perhaps we did create an issue.
We definitely did create an issue, and shout out to Becky, really sweet woman friend of mine. Be sure to follow her below. I have all the links to all the videos down below in the description. That was great. The only caveat that I would say is it's not just conservative gays in that little middle. I would just say it's middle ground gays. I mean, hell, there's even more, like, I've met liberal gay people who are tired of their own side shit. Like, just because they're hypercritical of the liberal side doesn't mean they've left it, so to say, you know? So I wouldn't.
Same thing, how like people who identify as Democrat but then took notice of certain things of the, I don't even want to call them Democrats. They're not considered Democrats. They're woke psycho liberals. Leftists, I should say, woke psycho leftists that, you know, want to call like people like, you know, Bill Maher, whomever, who grew up Democrat in like the 70s and 80s and the 90s, who had a very even-keeled viewpoint, challenged both sides, critical of both sides, which should be the case. You should be able to be critical of both sides, just like, you know, Becky and Amir can be critical of their own community and people who might be against that community. They can be fair on both ends. But the fact that they're trying to eat your own, where it's like you dare go against us, you're supposed to be with us. No, I'm on the side of sensibility. I'm on the side of fairness. Just because you like are gay doesn't mean you are just this perfect human being that does no wrong. You got to acknowledge that certain people in the community have burned any type of achievements, any type of strides that community has built over, like, probably since the 80s, arguably, and you pretty much darn near burned it to the freaking ground. Because you took things too far. You let certain people in that community be the loudest voices and uproot everything under the guise of progression. So now we got trans kids movements. Like, what the hell? God forbid you even point it out, but then you throw in like bigot or homophobe or whatever. You throw that in everybody's doggone faces with whatever critical, no matter how small or benign. You overuse racism, bigot, homophobe. You overuse it to the point where now it's meaningless. So when things are legit bigoted, legit homophobic, legit racist, it falls on deaf ears because y'all overused it for every little thing, for every little pushback. When you know you're wrong. You're wrong in this case. This is kind of like what are we even doing? So I do feel bad for sensible gay people out there in the world who made legitimate strides over the years to get to the point where they had gay rights. They got the W they were always looking for many decades. You know, gay people of the past who probably not here to actually celebrate that moment, that achievement that they who probably passed away from AIDS years ago, who probably would have loved that moment where like they got the gay rights they were seeking for so long, the respect that they wanted, not be ostracized or whatever. When you got the W, you should have left it be. You should like just move on. But these little movements, they can't just dissipate once they achieve a goal. They always gotta find some new, activism they gotta fight for. Because otherwise, they're getting funds. Let's be real. They're getting funded for this kind of stuff, these movements. So in order to keep that going, we gotta find new problems. We gotta, make new colors to the flag in order to put on shirts in every target known to man. We gotta find new things. That's why it gets pushy, because it's always in your face. It's everywhere because they you get funds for that. Obviously, you get funded somewhere. Money's coming from somewhere. It's like they can't just like, we got the W, now we can just move on with our lives, which a lot of sensible gay people were trying to do. Now it's like, we're here now.
Put it off just to conservative gays, but in large part, yes, it is more middle ground and leaning right, but I will give justice to the more liberal gays who are also tired of them, because they matter too, and they're honestly the more effective ones to really cut down all of this. Because for the most part, like the black dude said in the beginning of this video, it's not so much that they're homophobic, they're just annoyed. They're tired. They're burnt out. Like the black fatigue, this is gay fatigue. Like fatigue. The sticks, the bundle of sticks. If you know, you know. If you Google what up, can you actually Google that? Is that the official word for a bundle of sticks? Let me make sure. Bundle of sticks. Yup. Go ahead and Google that. A bundle of sticks. That's what we're talking about, and that's what people are annoyed by. They're just annoyed of them. Annoyed of sticks. Because they are effectively ruining everything that gay people have fought for. And all the respect that gay people have fought for. We saw all through the 2010s, respect for gay people rising. It was cool. It was chill. Then boom. The TQ plus came out of nowhere, the flag changed, the acronyms got added on, and everything went to shit. That's just about where we're at, and I'm fighting hard. We're all fighting hard to do PR.
Yeah, that was the major turning point in society, 2010s. It was after the 2010s where the woke was rising, all these little progressive movements was coming out of the woodwork, out of freaking nowhere. Now you got the whole non-binary thing. That was a whole thing. I think people are getting a lot sick of that too. It's just like, we can't keep taking on every little new problem. And some of these are so nothing burgers. Gay rights actually meant something back in the day. Being allowed to be able to marry who you choose to love, that meant something. It was an actual kind of issue. But trans youth, that's not an issue. That's stupid. That's incredibly stupid. That shouldn't have even left a Senate floor or even hit a street. There should have been no poster made of that. Oh, golly.
Damage control for the sane gay people out there, because I still want to be respected. I still want to be seen as a great person in society. I have nothing to do with the craziness. They're not aligned with me. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they do need to stop. And I will call it out because they're attaching me to them. In that, because I'm gay, I'm automatically about all that and in that bubble. And no, I want no part of that at all.
Do you know who's more people than ICE this year? Trans shooters.
Hello.
Do you know the majority of these high school shootings have been transgender people?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Talk to this transgender person, like, hey, can I run something by you? And I spoke with them. They described to me a level of oppression that genuinely fucking broke my heart. They said, hey, let me tell you, like, I am not allowed to use the bathroom at my own place of work. We've got like politics.
That's not true. They're just not allowed to use the bathroom. It doesn't align with their biological sex.
Okay. They can go use the bathroom. You can use the bathroom.
Realize
this is such a great clip, and I haven't seen it. I've been hearing about this. Oh my god, I have to include this video.
I've seen the clip.
This right here is a friend trying to save a friend. He's like, oh shit, he's been captivated by this mindset.
That he didn't get like any kind of nomination, let alone win like best podcaster. I think I'm not sure if he ever won one once, but in the past couple of years, especially recently, they had all, now so many celebrities got all these podcasts. But notice how in the recent award shows, I think like either early this year or late last year, where I think it was Amy Schumer's wait a minute, not Amy Schumer. No, not Amy Schumer. It was from Parks and Recreation, that lady. The main lady from Parks and Recreation. Her podcast won, but notice all the nominees are all super woke liberals. They ain't considered Joe Rogan or any other podcast that was like either moderate or conservative leaning. No matter how many numbers that they rake in, no matter how popular they are, obviously Joe Rogan is bigger than any of those nominations. Like not Amy Schumer's thing, not Call Her Daddy, not what's the one with like Jason Bateman? You know, there was another one blanking on it, but all of them super left leaning. It's a joke. It's a circle jerk. They ain't trying to hear anything from any side, no matter how moderate or right-leaning, you know, no matter how sensible. But it's just like, if you're not in the bubble, we ain't counting you. If you're inviting people on the other side of the aisle to have a conversation with, we don't want to associate with you. It's like that. It's just like this whole treating anybody who doesn't agree with you like the enemy is sickening, and it's primarily coming from the left. You cannot say that way from anybody from the right or even moderate. Even like Fox News, no matter how wrong they tend to be, they're more than willing to allow other people to who aren't on their side of the aisle to come talk. It happened quite a few times. Can I say that from the other side? That in and of itself shows you the line of thinking. Not like I said, I'm not like super right leaning either. I'm not agreeing with anything. I'm not agreeing with everything they align with, but I get it. I respect it. I can understand it. I treat it with fair ears. But certain people on the left ain't giving an inch. They refuse to. Otherwise, if they do, they're out of the cool kids club now, which is kind of weird. Weird behavior, very childish. Can you imagine if Oprah or George Clooney actually sit down with Trump to actually have a conversation with him? He will never be invited to any award show for a while. Certain endorsements will go up in smoke.
Let me break this down respectfully, with facts, and just shut it down right at the jump. This is what we all should be doing with our friends who are on the Steve-O side of things.
I think there's people that feel like they are in the wrong biological sex.
Sure.
Right? But there's also people that are fucking perverts.
Yep.
And they have a thing called autogynephilia. And what that is they get a turn on by pretending to be a woman.
Which I've seen enough videos and enough pictures. Obviously, I can't include it here. You're going to have to do the research yourself and just trust me on this. But it's a grown man in a dress, full on, bricked up, ready to go, just poking out the dress. I'm not even joking. Fully bricked up, poking out the dress. You can look it up.
They get excited by it, and they want to be around women, and they're creeps.
I'm not, and like people like that, I'm sorry, need to get their ass beat. But because they say, oh, like I identify as a blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, now it's a hate crime. But they got an easy scapegoat shield that society, or at least these woke idiot white liberals, sit there and like bestowed upon them without any context. Some extra level of thinking just to say like, are you really? It's like, no, because normally person that act like this will get dragged out and get their ass kicked, as they should. But now you give them like a built-in excuse. They can wield at a drop of a hat. Stupid.
And so you give them a fucking Willy Wonka golden ticket to go into the women's locker room,
right,
and the women's bathroom, and stare at women and pretend you're a woman when you're just a crazy man.
Yep.
And you're actually into women.
Okay.
That's real too, man.
I don't doubt that that's real, and I know that it's a super complex, nuanced thing.
No, it's not.
And I don't...
but here's what's not complex. What is your chromosomes?
Right.
Okay? This is the same thing for competing. Right. All these fucking mental gymnastics that seemingly intelligent people do to justify biological males competing with females.
Oh, I'm with I don't think anybody's
It's the same
that.
thing. Right. It's the same thing.
It is the same.
Right.
And especially as speaking as a man who has daughters, like there are creeps. And if you give a creep, and I'm not saying all trans people are creeps.
Right.
But a lot of these fucking people that are in trouble for going into women's bathrooms dressed as a woman.
They're creeps. They're getting in trouble.
Right.
They're going.
Creeps that need their ass kicked immediately on sight. Because they're freaking disgusting. They don't get that pass of like hate crime. No. People like that need to get their ass kicked immediately. You gave them, like he said, the golden ticket of an excuse that he can wield ad nauseum, and the law has to abide by the law. It's like, oh, well, I gotta arrest you because this might be a hate crime. And you got to let the law handle it. Like, no. You know full well you're a creep. You got caught, and you're going to suffer the consequences violently. And of course, if the cops, and I'm pretty sure most cops know, what the situation is, but it can't look like they're advocating assault, because it is technically still an assault. But they will understand, like, oh, this creep is being in a bathroom, knowing we'll arrest this idiot, and we probably let like the community get a couple of more licks in, because this bastard needs to be dragged to prison where he can suffer some extra consequences for this ugly behavior. Because I know this considered street justice, but I think any rational person would look at that like, yeah, F that dude, don't care, won't shed a tear. But what do you think will happen if people have built-in excuse to do whatever they want? What do you think? It's kind of like the One Ring to rule them all, like the Lord of the Rings, the Ring of Sauron. Somebody put up a diagram about this. Matching the ring, giving you a ability to turn invisible to like the Invisible Man or something like that, where if somebody will have that kind of power to be invisible, to pretty much not be acknowledged, not be seen. That kind of power is very dangerous because they stop being affected by the rules of the law, because they can't get caught. They're not being seen doing X, Y, and Z. So of course they will wield it maliciously. It's very rare we'll come across, I won't say rare, it just takes a certain type of character of a person to wield it responsibly. Great power must come great responsibility. But there are people out there who will obviously misuse it. There are people out there that will try to get away with certain activities that otherwise, many years ago, they would never, ever even think of pulling a stunt like that. Because they know there will be consequences. You effectively taking away the idea of consequences. And you take away consequences from any human being, of course, many of them will go crazy. We're humans. We're flawed by nature. Sometimes that's a good thing, because we're not robots, not meant to be. But other times, that can be at our own detriment. That's why we have laws by God and by man to kind of curb those behaviors. Of course, we're still animals. We're part of the animal kingdom. We're part of the ecosystem. But unlike other animals, we are governed by law. We have reason to kind of curb those baser instincts. Giving people these golden ticket will obviously remove, any, like I said, consequences.
to jail. They're taking pictures. They're taking videos. They're causing a scene. It's always been a thing, the creeps, but it's never been this concentrated. It's never happening this much, this frequently. At all. Because like Joe Rogan said, you're giving them the golden ticket to just go in the bathroom and do whatever they want. When before, if there was a crossdresser or a trans woman that actually went into the bathroom, a women's bathroom, I'm gonna say pre-2015, they made sure it was empty, or like they'll knock, or they'll like use a single bathroom, or they'll go in and out with their girlfriends, or they were really passing. They still did it, but it wasn't like it is now. What we're seeing now is actually pure insanity.
With a fucking beard and a heart on are just that. They're creeps.
Right, okay.
They're crazy men. And these crazy men, their entire life, they would get beaten up for that. And now all of a sudden, they have to be accepted. So you've got two things going on at the same time.
That too. They were getting jumped more. Honestly, and it's another video I'm working on, we need more consequences. We do.
What I say?
We need more consequences for bad people doing bad things. Because we're living in a society now, you can just say whatever you want and you're respected. I am this, you're respected. Don't offend this person. Don't say this, don't say that. No. We need very, 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 very harsh and cruel punishments. So
bring back consequences, bring back shame. They helped humanity. We probably took it for granted because there were a certain amount of people who were getting like overly bullied. We need to bring back bullying. That's another thing. Bring back bullying, bring back shame, bring back consequences. Because we took them for granted because we didn't realize they kept a lot of people in check. Having these wackos out on these streets protesting, we're not even gotten that far. If there's certain people like the Regina Georges and Biffs of the world would have kind of shoved them in the lockers and they would have like grown some kind of backbone and toughened up some skin to actually have some maturity and understanding. It's like, okay, I can rise above this, or I can curl in a ball and be forgotten forever. It's like adapt or die. Consequences, shame. They kept women from acting like 304s. They kept guys from being losers out of prison. Consequences. There's no accept me as I am. No. You're a fat slob. You're a 304. You're acting like a bum. You're a creep. Go into like a lady's bathroom when you're not a lady. Then you need your ass kicked if you pull a stunt like that because you're not really like a lady. You're trying to pass, and you're not really of that demographic. You're trying to pull a fast one and you get caught. Like, no. We need to bring back bullying, bring back shame, bring back consequences, because ironically they're a good part of the human ecosystem that kept certain things in check. I don't know. Probably want to make a TikTok video about that kind of stuff, because we need those three things. I think a lot of people said they need to bring back shame, but we also need to bring back bullying, bring back. There's a few people said bring back bullying. There's a few people that says bring back shame, and we got here with Amir said bring back consequences. And I think Joe Rogan just said that too. So yeah, I think we need to merge all that together. Shame, bullying, consequences. They need to be brought back. We took them for granted. We really, really took them for granted. We need to finding all the Regina Georges and the Biffs of the world, at least in the United States, and like, I won't say encourage it, but let them just let Darwinism do its thing. Okay? Of course, not harm and like, not in a life-threatening kind of escalation, but because most people got bullied. You either adapt or you die. You rise above it. It teaches you how to rise above it. Some people have to learn how to. There's many comedians who got bullied and they use laughter to get out of situations. They adapted. They didn't go and shoot up a school. Those type of losers are the ones that didn't adapt, so they died. That happens. That is the circle of life. That is, evolution. There are things that humans do that needed to be checked because we can take things too far. That is the nature of humanity. We can do great things, but if certain things left to our own devices, it can go haywire. Of course, we want to progress as a society, but we don't want in the process getting rid of guardrails.
People can learn how to act in a society. And if they don't know how to act after that, you're getting medical help or you're getting sent to an insane asylum. Something. How people are like promoting and pushing for this, like the senators, like the general attorneys, like our vice president, well, before vice president, Kamala and Biden, all. No, it's disgusting.
You've got people with gender dysphoria that genuinely wish they were a woman or genuinely wish they were a man. And by the way, it's men that are the problem. No one gives a fuck about trans men going into the men's bathroom. Come on in. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? Oh, a girl's gonna shit next to you, or which?
Isn't that ironic? Yeah, it's always the man transitioning, and a woman is always, almost always. I wouldn't say always, but almost always. It's typically them. When is the other way around? You notice you don't hear nothing. Notice they don't cause a scene. They don't cause any issues. They are chill. They are quiet. It'll be very rare you'll come across that.
What's she gonna do? She's gonna pee out of a funnel? What is she gonna do? Like,
Hey,
no one's gonna get hurt. No one's gonna get hurt. This is the problem. When you allow perverts.
Although that being said, because somebody argued, I don't know if I got this from side scrollers or somewhere, I can't remember, but somebody pointed out that, well, if a woman who transitions into a man starts go all the way with it, mind you, goes into the men's bathroom, and if you knew that used to be a woman, because men tend to change their behavior around women, curve their typical language, typical jargon, typical mannerisms when a lady is present, because it just seems like a little awkward. You can't do normal barbershop talk when a lady is present. It's just like, I mean, but that probably is the worst of it that we have to experience. We don't have to worry about any kind of dangers physically compared to a man transitioning into a woman going to a woman's bathroom. There's a different level of danger.
To have this hall pass to go into women's locker rooms and bathrooms.
Yeah.
So you can't say you're not allowed to use the bathroom where you work. That's not true. You're just not allowed to use the women's room where other women are in there because you're not a woman. And I know you wish you were a woman or whatever's going on.
Okay.
But you're not.
Like, you make a very, very good point.
If you're a woman, talk to most women about this. And it's, unless they're insanely captured by this woke ideology where they can't see reality and the fact that perverts are still a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
And this loophole. You've given loopholes. Like, there's men in prison. I think it's like 47 biological males in California are housed in women's prisons. Some of them are offenders.
And some of them get pregnant. There's trans women going to jail and they're causing all types of harm and ruckus in these jails. You can't make this shit up. And I think the big part that Joe Rogan's getting to is it's the subtle acceptance that gets to that point. All the TQ plus stuff, because the LGBT, the gays, we were fine. After gay marriage, we were chilling. It's this TQ plus side of things that is bringing everything down and causing all types of ruckus and loopholes and just slippery slope and just ruining everything and making everything really creepy, weird, and annoying. That's what they're doing. And it's a subtle acceptance from people like Steve-O and your liberal friends that you may have. They're like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's not. It's genuinely not fine. It's genuinely not okay. It is just not. There's no other way to put it. It's not being hateful. It's not being homophobic, transphobic. No. None of that. There's people that are actually suffering from gender dysphoria. I'm not saying that's not the case. What I'm saying is we are allowing people to just overrun our society and just do whatever they want. We need to bring back some law and order. We need to bring back some structure. If you're a woman, use a woman's bathroom. If you're a man, use a men's bathroom. You can't say trans men are men and trans women are women. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trans.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
You would just be what you are, but you're not. Because you're trans, because you're transitioning from one thing to another. Hello, trans women are women. You're not. You're a trans woman. You're a man cosplaying with a wig and a dress as a woman. Boiling down, that's what it is. You're trying your best to transition to model what the sex and gender is. That's what you're doing.
In what age do you think most trans kids determine that they're trans?
Violet told us when she was 1.5. She's been telling us since she could speak. So she knew since birth.
What motivated you to come out here today?
1 year old. Do you hear yourself? 1 year old. What do a 1 year old, what do you think they typically would say? They'll say whatever. They're barely grasping language at that point. It's like, but the kids forming complete sentences like I identify as X, Y, and Z. Be real. It's like you look at a woman like this. She looks like, I can't believe I'm actually gotta say this crap. And in the back of her mind, but she doesn't want to look like, appear like a phobic or, a ist. So she had to go along with the get along. It's like, well, she's not hurting nobody, which is a typical excuse. Like, well, no, you're hurting everybody. I'm sorry. It is hurting people. You might not think so because it's not like a physical thing, but you're transing children. That's hurting society. So yes, it is hurting people. You're hurting kids. Kids beat any racism. They beat any homophobia. They beat it all. Children, should be like our future. They need to be the next generation of adults that need to carry on society to keep it going, to be model citizens. So any harm to them is a harm to society. Full stop. So I don't care about she's not identifying my pronouns. F your pronouns. You messing with these children. Oh, you're being racist. I don't care if you the same color as me. You're messing with these children. All that is irrelevant at that point.
We're supporting our child, Violet, and her access to the medical care that she needs.
We're here for her rights and her ability to be who she is.
This idiot. I guess these are the parents, and it's like, what kind of parent are you? Now, I'm pretty sure most people won't agree, but I'm under the belief, personally, that these people are just misinformed or misled, wanting desperately to do the right thing. They want desperately to try to do the right thing by their child, and they under the belief that they're doing it because it's 2024. Back then, it's like, we're trying to do the right thing. We don't want our child to feel like ostracized, because any loving parent wants their kid to, be happy. Of course. But there's got to be some level of maturity behind it. Some, of course, cookies will make your kid happy. But as a parent, you would understand that you can't give your kid cookies all the time. I don't care how much they ask for it. No matter how polite they're being, no matter, it doesn't matter. You know that it'll be, to an extent, unhealthy. So the responsible thing is to make sure they have probably more vegetables and fruit than that will outweigh the cookies. Cookies are a special treat. Fruit and vegetables should be the norm. That is a long-term, mature decision to make sure that kid grows up healthy and strong. So they won't die until well within their 80s instead of their 40s. Well, because you don't want to gain any pushback from some woke crazy mob, or you want to be so desperate to be the right side of history where you can't just use your own critical thinking skills. It's like, well, she said it, so we gotta take it seriously. No, you don't. Until she's over 21 and at your house, she lives under your rules. You're the authority figure. I mean, any future kid I have, I don't care what they say. Until they're outside of my house, they don't abide by my rules. If you're a girl, you're going to be a girl. You're going to live like a girl. If you're a boy, you're a boy. You're going to live like a boy. And until you are out my house, paying your own bills, living your own life, when you get to that point, whether I agree with it or not, you do pretty much whatever you want. But until then, you are, if you're born as a Dennis, you're not going to be a Daphne. I don't care. You can cry on your little Twitter finger, internet. I don't care what they say. F those people. They're not going to care about you the same way I will care about you. They're not raising you. They're not paying for your medical bills, dentist stuff. They're not paying for your school. You're not making sure clothes in your back, food in your belly. You're not driving you to soccer practice. They're not doing any of that stuff. I am as your parent, and as your parent, I'm ultimately responsible for you, so you can be raised as a healthy adult and live a normal life as a healthy mind and healthy body, and healthy spirit. So you'll be a functional member of society. That is my duty as a parent. When you get to that point, then you're mature enough to make certain decisions upon yourself. And at that point, and you still wholeheartedly believe at your core, at 28 years old, that you identify as a woman and you feel inclined to transition, you do it on your own dime and have at it. Because at that point, it's out of my hands. I may disagree with it fundamentally, but I can't control it at that point. And that's a healthy mindset with any adult that should have. But no, they're scared. That's what it is. They're scared. They're scared of any backlash. And to a certain extent, I feel bad. Because they probably live in a very liberal town or state, and they just don't want to lose any kind of livelihood from any kind of boycotts or pushback, because the kid gets very emotional because they're not, the parents are not identifying or adhering to any beliefs that they might feel, because they went to a very liberal school where everybody's transitioning, or everybody's kind of gay and bi this and non-binary that, and it's all rampant, and they just want to feel included, so they want to just say whatever. It's then what your duty as a parent is to take those kids out of those kind of schools. We'll have a freaking talk with the principal or the school board, but more than likely you're gonna have to take the kid out of the school and put them into a more either a Christian-based school or homeschool them. Or maybe a private school where all this stuff is not crazy rampant.
She's not going to let anybody silence her, and we're not going to stand in her way.
Are you concerned about how this case would affect Arizona, or do you think that would have an impact there?
Yes, 100% we're concerned, and We've discussed having to move, which we don't want to do, but Violet comes first, and her medical care and her medical needs come first. So
this is why there's people out there that's like, I don't rock with the gay community at all. I don't rock with none of this. These people are not parents. They're not parenting. They're not leading. They're not doing any of that. You're being a child's friend and accepting any type of delusion you want from them. And you did a piss poor job raising your child if that's how they end up being. I'm sorry.
They're afraid of being a bad guy. And it's mostly the elder millennials that kind of push that narrative. I'm not sure who wrote that book or that so-called therapist who was pushing this narrative. Like, you got to be your child's friend. Because some kids of old grew up because their parents were too strict in some cases. So now it's like, okay, we need to start treating a child your friend because you don't want them to be overly strict and they'll feel like shackled and blah blah blah. And it's like, there's no right way to parent. You do the best you can, but this isn't like the way to go either, when you're too scared of your kid or what other people might think. Instead of just being adults, like, I don't give a, instead of, start, adopting the I don't give a fuck mindset, because I know what's best for my kid. I'm not going to harm my kid. And of course, in their mind, they believe, they're under their belief that, like, they're doing what's best for their kid. But it's like, deep down, you know this is stupid. I bet you 10 years ago, or maybe when the kid was born, you would never thought, you would never think you would get to this point. You probably had a completely different way of thinking. It was probably very rational that you was raising this kid for as, I'm not sure the kid transitioned to a girl or about to transition to a boy, because it seems like a girl right there. Seems. But it's just, either way, it's like, you had this kid, and there was one way you never thought society would get to this point, but then you bought into the Kool-Aid, and now you're just like, you'll, more than likely, once this moment passes, I'm pretty sure there'll be some level of regret, either coming from the kid or coming from the parents, but someone's going to live with this decision, the regret of this decision. There's plenty of people who's trying to detransition, living with the regret because they made an emotional decision when they were too young to understand it, and the parents were too scared to put a stop to it. And you just need to take a beat, consider the situation, don't react. Stop reacting to every little thing. Stop being pushed one way or the other. Just have a conversation. If the kid is like barely in their preteens, at the very least, the sensible thing to do is wait until they're grown adults, or at least officially a legal adult, and then they still saying like, oh, I still identify as this. At least you can, hear them out better, because they live some semblance of a life, so they can have some understanding, and you can do the serious research, because more often than not, they end up changing their minds because they had like an emotional reaction when they were very young and not mature. They decided like, oh, well, I do actually, I do kind of like girls. I am a, boy. I'm not really a girl. I was just, I felt this way, but it's like, now I was like, no, this is not popular anymore. It's not like an it thing. They treat this like a trend. That's the thing. A lot of these kids treat this like a trend because they want to be on so desperate in like an in crowd, part of some kind of club, to be a victim, because everybody's got to be a victim. And so they can't think for themselves. They want to be some part of a clique. So that's what it is. They treat it like a trend because that's the popular thing. It doesn't help with certain celebrities kind of enabling it. So now, I bet you 10 years from now, we're going to have a whole slew of, federal cases, from parent to, from kid to parent, for allowing them to go through this crazy surgery And the parent will probably, fight back. It's like, well, you said, and we were trying to honor you, we were trying to respect you, and then it's like, well, you should have been a parent, and it's going to be a crazy upheaval between parent and child 10 years from now, because this moment will pass, this era will pass, and we'll be living with a regret because it's only a blip in the universe. This won't be a thing anymore because it won't be trending no more. And nowadays, it's not like a hot new thing and some other thing will trend on Twitter that kids will be into. Then it's like, well, I want to have kids, but I chopped my thing off now. So what the hell? I was like, maybe if your parents were acting like parents and wait until you was like a full-grown adult to actually make your own doggone decisions, you'll probably end up changing your mind, and it's like, yeah, I was kind of wilding. I didn't, never mind any of that crap. Then you wouldn't be in the thick of it. Surprise, surprise.
This is one. I try to be kind, nice. This is one. It's children. It's a minor. What the hell do you mean it came out as transgender at 1.5 years old? Oh my gosh. What are we gonna do? Like, literally, what are we gonna do? I'm hoping more content like this just highlights the insanity of this conversation and how real it is. So like when you hear it with your friend groups, when you hear it around, or you're, oh shit, I'm breaking my chair. You hear it with family and friends, you're just out and about, you push back politely. Because we're gonna get to a place like this where there's literally marches and protests of grown ass adults saying their child came out to them when they were trans as 1.5 years old, were fighting for their rights to medically manipulate themselves for the rest of their life. I have nothing to say. Other than I want it to end.
Here are things that the woke people do that really pisses me off as a gay guy. Thinking you can be whatever you want to be. You want to be a dog? Well, you are one now. Just because you look rough doesn't mean you're a dog. What the fuck? How far do they take it? Like, if you're ill, am I allowed to take you to the vet, or do I have to take you to hospital for humans? I'll make you shit in a litter tray, don't try me. Scary how easy it is to now just be the opposite gender. For example, all I have to do is just tell you, guess what guys, I'm a woman now.
Yep, that's bad. We don't need people out here just saying, I'm a woman, I'm gonna do whatever I want. No!
And that's it, I can now go into the women's bathrooms, it's discrimination if you try and kick me out. Again, there are genuine trans people out there that I actually love, respect, and I love watching their journey. I should call him. There are people out there that really abuse that system. Like, I can genuinely have a beard like Dumbledore and walk into the women's toilets and just say I'm a lady. Personally, I think trans women are not a threat to women in the bathrooms at all. If anything, they want to get railed by a man. The fact that if you don't like anything, it's called phobia. I don't like what straight men are into. Beer, pool, football, their culture is not for me. Straight culture is not for me. Gay culture might not be for them. That doesn't make them phobic.
Just because a straight man says, oh, I don't like what gay people do, doesn't mean they're phobic of it, because I don't like what straight people do. That shit nasty to me. Doesn't mean I hate straight people. Doesn't mean I don't like them. I just don't like what they do. And they don't like what I do. And we mutually...
Like, as a straight man, I don't like what things that girls are into sometimes. And they won't like certain things that straight men are into sometimes. It's like, yeah, we're meant to always intermingle with one another and like every doggone thing. Sometimes we tend to be repulsed by certain things that other people are into. I'm not into dudes, like, kissing and fondling each other. It's like, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't hate them. I'm not phobic of them. It's like, that's their thing. I'm not into it. Kind of cringy. But I respect it. It's like, hey, that's Brian's boyfriend Jeff. And it's like, hey, it's like, they've been together for 5 years and they're happily married and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And they pretty chill people. I will never go to any gay bar with them. True. Like, we might hang out at, like, neutral spaces. Like, if we in, like, a friend group with me and my girl, and we're, double dating or something like that, and we're, out at an amusement park, it's like, okay, yeah, it's just a chill night with a group of friends. Just one of them might, happen to be a gay couple. It's whatever. But then it's just like that extra mile that they end up taking. some of the like the people in the gay community takes it too far. It's the extreme of it all. It's the pushiness of it all. That is the annoying part.
We respect that and we move on about our day. Hello? That's not a problem at all.
Don't like hanging out with gay people because of the stuff that we bring to them. That's fine. Woke people are the most culty.
They are woke. The woke gays. I mean, hell, the LGBTQ community at large in general is just a cesspool that's lost all respect, all dignity, and any type of meaning, to the point where even like we talked about before in the Pride video, all the brand. I'm really interested in what Pride is going to look like this year in 2026, and like if we're going to see another decline and decrease of brands supporting Pride parades, because I think a lot of people are just over it. They're completely over it, you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Are you someone that's straight and you're just tired of the antics that the gay community has always been up to and promoting and pushing? Are you gay? And are you just like a normal gay person that is also tired of the nonsense? Let me know, because this is getting very tiring. It's upsetting. It's unfortunate seeing how gay people are viewed in the society, especially for me, actively seeing us being more supported and then all of a sudden come crashing down to the point where there's regular gay people who are even like, I want no part of this. What are we doing, you guys? Something needs to be said. I'm glad we're having this discussion and more people are waking up to it and this rise of like normal gays out there. But I hope this video outlined and showed a clear reason as to why there's a lot of people out there who just do not like the LGBTQ community, and it doesn't have anything to do with homophobia. It's purely how the gays be acting and the crazy, decrepit things that they promote. So if you like this kind of content, especially this specific gay video, I have a whole playlist that has all the LGBTQ topics that I've talked about, from more videos talking about why normal gays feel excluded, big critiques that I personally have with the gay community, gay pride parades, trans stuff, and you name it. Beans, greens, tomatoes, you name it. That's always comes to my mind when I say you name it, but you name it. It's in there. It's in a playlist. Go ahead and give that a watch. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Shout out to Amir Odom. Like I respect his takes, man, because he's sensible. I like dealing with people who are sensible. Like, I understand, like, not like, like, I'm talking about truly bigoted, like cross-burning on your lawn bigoted, and then, like, the other extreme where you're like super woke white ladies, like that kind of ilk. I'm talking about sensible people who can understand, like, yeah, this is kind of whacked. These people are kind of crazy. Yeah, I'm not a part of this. They need to be, like, held accountable. I like engaging with people like that. No one wants to walk on eggshells with certain people. It's just like, yeah. I hope this, I hope Amir's video reaches far and wide. And as a matter of fact, like, what does comments tend to say? Hold on, because I'm really curious at how it's being received, because I bet you there's so many people who are, who feel the same way as he does, as I do, as many people do, who grew up probably, leaning Democrat, but it's just like, it's gone too far. That woman who said her child said they were trans at 1.5 years old. I wanted to be a fire engine until I was 5, but my parents didn't strap a siren to my head and paint me red. Yeah, exactly. We've regressed. I graduated high school in 2007 and knew 2 people who were homosexual. When they came out, everyone's reaction was, we know, and we moved on as someone. Exactly. Graduated the same year as, this person did. You're like, yeah, I knew gay people in my high school too. They were chill. One of them was very flamboyant, one wasn't, but we knew they were, like, obviously we were gay. It wasn't together. They just, when you get too fine, 2 gay people, that don't mean they have to be together. But I'm just saying, like, there's clearly 2 people that were obviously gay back then. It was very obvious. But they were very chill. And that's the thing. That's the attitude. That's the acceptance part, people. That when somebody comes on as gay, it would be like Rhodey in it would be like War Machine in Iron Man 2. It's like, look, I'm here and now. Look, I'm here now. Let's move on. And it's like, yeah, that was the general sentiment. Nobody cared. It didn't need a big old pride parade for it. Okay, was like, oh, okay, Jim just came out as gay to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool, good for you. Can I get back to the football game now? It's like, I don't know, a friend of mine who did, it was like a little after a high school. Some dude I knew who came out, and I was like, okay, not really. Like, it's like I don't know what you want me to do about it. Dude, it's like, okay, good for you, live your life. It's like, but that was the normal sentiment for most people. There wasn't rampant homophobia or gay bashing, like it was probably in maybe the 70s and 80s. People were just like, let's don't invite me to your gay bars. This is all I ask. That's more the sentiment for most people. It's just okay, that is the acceptance, people. Where you're just nonchalant, indifference. You're not bothering me, and it's like I'm not pushing my stuff on you. That should have been the standard. That was it. But then you get certain people starting with the T's and the Q's and the pluses and all this stuff, start interfering with the ecosystem, the balance. They interfere with the balance, and now you got upheaval. It was like around the 2010s when it's like you mucking with stuff. Certain people start mucking with things. We've regressed. Sorry, I read that. Some adults just need to learn not everyone will like you, support you, or your behavior. Move on. It's not animosity phobic. It's most of the time. Exactly. Some things are not going to rock with people. I don't hate white people just because I don't jam to country music like that. I don't think white people are racist because some don't listen to hip hop. It's the same kind of mindset. Here's another one here. I'm a gay man and my friends and I are embarrassed and disgusted by the alphabet mafia. It's like I feel bad for them because they're just living their normal lives, but now they gotta get roped up in this mess. I'm in my 60s, and when we were younger, we just wanted to blend in. We didn't demand people celebrate our being. Yeah, it's almost in a narcissistic kind of fashion now. That they just don't want to be about to just blend in and live amongst us. They want to stand out. It's like, why do you need to stand out all the doggone time? Everything got to be about you. You're not the only one that live in society. This is another one. I'm a gay man and I want nothing to do with the LGBTQ. Never did that. The media likes to lump us all into one box. It's like being a vegan. No one has a problem with people being vegan. You can eat whatever you want, but it's when they start getting pushy and judging you for what you eat and saying you're an animal killer that gets annoying. That's the virtue signaling and the wokeness that annoys people and makes them feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you. People hate that shit. Just be a normal vegan person without all that BS that annoys people. Perfect example. Vegans were very annoying. When being vegan was the trend, that was a trend too, remember? That kind of died down after a period, but that was a whole thing, and people were so annoying when they, it's like they look at you in disgust because you want to eat a steak, and it's like, ugh, it's like animal killer, and it's like, oh my god, like why we bring Dave? Why did you make me bring Dave? We're trying to have a nice little birthday party, and he's sitting there critiquing the food. Certain liberals, certain gay people are the vegans of the day. They're the vegans of the day. If you put it like that, that gives people like a good understanding of what we're dealing with. To quote my father, being gay isn't a choice. Being that gay is a choice. That is a good one. I don't know if that would be considered like a dad joke, but that was good, man. Being gay isn't a choice. Being that gay is a choice. I want to use that one. Oh my god, that's good, man. Who said that? I want to make sure that the proper person, the person, I want to make sure they get the proper trademark and the acknowledgement, because this is their joke, not mine. Because I'm not going to remember this name after today. Nag623. That was funny. Who else for fun? Exactly what I thought. Too much gayness these days at a crazy level to discuss even for us gays. If you do gay for gay people, it's like, what's that character from Archer? It's like, oh my god, you like sneeze glitter. You sneeze glitter. You're entirely too gay. 100% correct. Do what you need to do, but why do we all need to hear about it? Hear about, see it, and have it forced on us? It's your private business, not public. One of the best lines I come across in a while. Yeah, that was really funny. There are LGBT and TQ plus alphabet soup. They are not the same. Yeah, can we just bring back like just the LGB and just keep it there? Those are typically the sensible ones. If you identify TQ on for it, those are the crazy ones. Sorry, I'm pretty sure there's sensible people among those, but the likelihood is very small. If you don't feel the same way as that other ilk, I advise you to, like, I don't know, not identify as non-binary or queer or whatever like that. People who identify as queer, people just like, okay, just say you're gay or you're or straight. Pick a lane. Stop trying to flip-flop or try to be a part of this so you can feel included in something. Just be a normal person. Queer is not a thing. I'm sorry. You're just like, I don't know, maybe eccentric. Or remember, there was a thing called metrosexuals. I think they were probably like the queer of the 90s. But at least it was like I don't know, like for lack of a better word, normal. They still look normal. They wasn't like all over the place with it. Last one. We're taking care of my niece, and she's 4 now, and it's been so much fun during this imaginative time. But I mean, I could, if I were horrible, make her believe pretty much anything. I told her about a stray cat that came in the window one day, and she went off on these stories about how she also saw the cat, and it had all these crazy adventures. And I was like, oh really? Tell me more. Then what did the cat do? It's fun and imaginative. But imagine what I could get her to come up with if I were feeding her ideas about changing herself, what have you. It's such an abuse of what should be a fun time for kids. Exactly. Because they absorb things like sponges. They're very, they're hungry for information. They want to study the world around them. They want to, whether they know it or not, they're trying to, learn the world. And of course, if they surround people that they supposedly trust, that are major influence in their life, whether it's like a parent, aunt, uncle, whomever, that's into this woke nonsense and starts feeding them like, oh, boys can be girls and girls can be boys, we're all the same, when they're 5 years old. Of course they don't believe it, because why would a person like that lie to them? And of course it will cause a domino effect that didn't need to be. It will cause a certain pathway that didn't need to exist. It's kind of like like the Loki says with the TVA, it's kind of, it calls a divergent path that didn't need to exist, that should be pruned from the timeline because it didn't need to exist, because you're manipulating a situation that probably didn't, need to be forced. People who normally gay people that I know growing up, all that stuff was, they discovered that through organic means. It wasn't like the system didn't need to be manipulated, if you catch my drift. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Sorry, came up like nearly 2 hours. I didn't know I was going to be this long, but I was just like looking forward to checking out this video, because it's like, it's gone to the point where even most gay people are looking at this like, you're too gay. You're being too much now. And they have right to feel that way. And I feel bad for the sensible gay people of that community, because they just need to have the gay marriage rights and just live their lives and blend in. That's it. And they got the win. But then the T's, the queers and the pluses, they all kind of just snuck in somewhere. And now they manipulated the system. Now it's all turned to crap. And I feel bad, because it didn't need to be that way. Anyway, I will see you guys for the next one. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Take care.